Good morning. Good morning to the leader in you. We are back for another phenomenal edition of Good Morning to the Leader in You. Well, I'm your host, Catherine Trotter, and we have Dr. Leroy McKenzie with us, our co-host, and we have a phenomenal guest that we're going to introduce in just a couple of minutes that I think is going to bring great value to our podcast show. As you know, every week we always bring on a professional that can speak tips and tools or strategies or share information that can help us grow in our business, help us grow in our leadership capacity. Again, good morning to the leader in you. This is specifically designed to awaken those gifts, those talents, those natural leadership abilities that you have, but we also have to couple it with some knowledge and some resources, right? So we can push our businesses to the next level. Dr. Leroy, what would you say about Good Morning to the Leader in You and what we stand for?
Well, I believe what we stand for is what I call the circle of impact. And what that is people that pour into you, and then the people.
It's a little echo.
Oh, that's better. But what it is it's a circle of impact, which is people that pour into you, and people that you pour into. It's almost like when you go to a restaurant and you're sitting at a table, and you have the glasses at the table, and they'll bring you a pitcher of water, they'll bring you a pitcher of tea, lemonade, whatever it is. But the pitcher is used to pour into the glasses. And sometimes I got to thinking this some years ago, sometimes with the glasses, and we have to be poured into. Sometimes with the pitcher to pour into others, and it's understanding what position that you're sitting. Well, good morning to the leader in you is that pitcher, and we want to pour into you. We want to give you those things that fill you up, that give you what the resources that you need, give you the knowledge that you may need, whatever it is that you need. We want to pour into you so that you can then pour into others, and you become the pitcher because you now filled up. And you can then pour into others. So that's what I think of when I think about Good Morning to the leader.
Perfectly said. We are the pitcher pouring into one another. And listen, we have a phenomenal queen with us. And I just want to read a snippet of her bio. The director of BCL, Small Lending Division, Bonnie Crockett, has worked in the banking industry for more than 30 years and has held positions ranging from vice president and general counsel of a federal savings bank to executive director of a small business revitalization project to adjunct professor at a master's level entrepreneurship program. Bonnie joined BCL in 2017 and was tasked with developing, implementing, and managing BCL's small business lending program. She now oversees a staff of 6 who together has made over 60 loans to underserved small businesses, totaling to more than $3.7 million since the program began. Let's welcome Ms. Crockett. Welcome. Thank you for being a part of our podcast this morning.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. This is exciting. I love to talk about what we do.
Absolutely. And I feel your positive energy that you just bring to the show this morning. Let's flow right into what is the mission of BCL?
Well, Baltimore Community Lending, it has an interesting history. It actually was started in 1989 as a department of Baltimore city government. And it was created to help fund affordable housing development. Shortly thereafter, they went out on their own and formed a 501c3 nonprofit, and then qualified as a Treasury certified community development financial institution. Have you ever heard of CDFI?
Yeah.
And CDFIs are basically mission-driven financial institutions that are committed to serving underserved and disadvantaged neighborhoods. And it is our mission to provide affordable and safe and reasonable financing to folks who who have trouble finding it anywhere else.
Wow. I mean, and I think the history behind why it got started is very vital for everyone to know. And based on why it got started, why do you feel it's still thriving today? Why do you feel as though it's made an impact? I mean, 60, I mean, that's huge. And I know you're going to be doing way more.
Oh, we actually are. And in fact, I can even update those numbers. We have made 66 loans for $4 million total in 4 years, less than 4 years, actually. Well, part of the reason it's still thriving is because we work closely with neighborhoods, hand in hand with folks, and we change with the times. We do what needs to be done. Now, in fact, that's why we're making small business loans now. They've been providing affordable housing, construction, and development lending for over 30 years. And about 4 years ago, they realized, you need more than buildings. You need products and services. You need jobs. You need entrepreneurial spirit. You need people to fill those buildings, when you revitalize a neighborhood. So they decided to add a small business lending division, and they brought me on board to do that. And before we started lending, before we just decided what we were going to do, we went out and found out what are the barriers to small business lending. Why can't people get small business loans? So we held about 4 different sessions with bankers, other CDFIs, community advocates, small business owners. And at the same time, we had the advantage of a couple of very comprehensive studies, one from Calvert Impact Capital and another from Johns Hopkins 21st Century Cities about barriers to credit. And they all came back with the same answer. It was not a mystery. Clearly there have always been barriers based on race, based on gender, based on neighborhood, but the number one barrier to small business credit is personal wealth. Because from about $5,000 and up, in order to get a small business loan, you have to have collateral. 100% collateral. Oh, now, $50,000 is considered a micro loan. But if you wanted to borrow $50,000 and needed to have 100% collateral, you basically need to own a home with some equity in it. Where else are you going to get that kind of collateral? So we designed our program around those barriers. So we make small business loans of $10,000 to $50,000 to startups, and up to $150,000 to existing businesses over 2 years old. And we do not require collateral, but we still have to mitigate risk, right? That's the purpose of requiring collateral, is to mitigate risk. So what we do instead is that we require that all of our small business applicants complete a small business training program. It's free. It's one-on-one. We meet you where you are. Some folks are very sophisticated and it's one conversation. Other folks, 2 years later are still writing their business plan. Mm-hmm. But we help them write their business plan. We help them put together business financials, which is a huge step for most people. Everybody has math fear. And at least understand financials as well. And in many cases, folks aren't even sure how to apply for a loan. They see words like assets and liabilities, and they're not sure what that means. Mm-hmm. And after a while, when people have been told no so many times, they stop asking. So we require this small business training. And in these 4 years, we have made 66 loans totaling $4 million, and we have had no write-offs. Wow. We believe that this is not only a more equitable way of making small business loans, obviously, it also makes more sense. Because you're actually helping people become better business owners. It makes more sense than just requiring that they already have personal wealth. And we believe that ultimately we're going to be able to prove that. 4 years is still anecdotal, but ultimately when we continue at this rate and don't have those kind of defaults and write-offs, we think we're going to be able to change the conversation about small business lending. When we did our research of, who doesn't have collateral, in the entire state of Maryland, the people least likely to have collateral are BIPOC and women-owned businesses in Baltimore City. So we knew that was the number one barrier. And it took us a while, I tell you, to get the word out. Like I said, when people keep being told no, they stop asking. Right. So once we decided what we wanted to do, we had to work really hard to get the word out there to folks who had given up, or worse yet, had used personal business or personal credit cards and run up their personal debt, tanked their own credit rating, or who had gotten a fintech loan online, some of these predatory loans online. We actually refinanced one small business loan who was paying 42% interest.
Wow.
42% interest. You never get out from under that.
Right.
So we refinanced that. And that's, we are a safe, reasonable, patient alternative. Our terms for a $150,000 loan is a 10-year term. So, we do everything we can to make it affordable and make it something that's going to work for all of us. We consider our small business success to be our success. Yeah. And we have some awesome success stories too. We also, in the last couple of years, we make loans to returning citizens, which is another area that, folks can't get loans. And this kind of came about, I'm sorry, once I get started, it's hard to stop.
I feel your passion. But this is needed information.
Okay.
So talk about the returning citizens component.
Well, what happened, we had never had a formal decision, yes or no, about a returning citizen. I mean, we just no one had applied. So we hadn't really given given it a thought yet when COVID hit. And returning citizen business in Baltimore, who was very successful, was an electrician, learned his trade in prison, worked for the prison system as an electrician. When he got out, he got a master's electrician's license, started his own company, hired other returning citizens, and then was getting big projects like Ryan Homes, wiring 100 homes, et cetera. He was doing great, right?
Oh, wow.
And COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And everything froze for a while there, especially the first year. So he applied for the PPP loan through the SBA, the Paycheck Protection Act loan, which helps you pay your employees while you're not working. And they said, we don't make loans to returning citizens. So they wouldn't even take his application.
Wow.
So he actually hired an attorney, took them to court, won his case.
Oh.
He did get his loan, although it was considered a partial victory because he didn't change their policy. They just gave him his loan. And he has since then testified before Congress, testified before Baltimore City Council. He's really a remarkable person. But then he came to us and said, I'm getting these big contracts, and something typical in a big contract like that, especially if it's a government contract, or most of his were with private developers, they don't get paid right away. You do 3 months worth of work and then you get a big payment for it. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, you've got to pay your employees, you've got to buy your supplies and equipment, So he needed a loan, and we made him a loan. And since then, he has come back because he keeps getting bigger and bigger contracts. And he is just one of our huge success stories. We just love him. So if you ever want to, if you need an electrician, call Lightning Electric. They're awesome.
All right.
So that was a great story. So in the meantime, we got a call from a nonprofit called Mission Launch that was working with a trade organization, AEO. It works with CDFIs. And they wanted to help returning citizens get small business loans. So what they developed was a new way of analyzing creditworthiness, because pretty much anyone who's a returning citizen is going to have a bad credit score. They have not been around to pay their bills or even build credit. So many returning citizens in Baltimore have been in prison have been incarcerated since they were teenagers. So they never had an opportunity, to build up a credit score. So this program, it's called the R3 score, developed by Mission Launch, is basically they interview the applicant to learn about consistency and decisions and commitment to, holding a job. And they look at basically character analysis of folks that have, are returning citizens, and provide an additional score in addition to that credit score, so that loan committees have something to look at, some way to make a subjective or objective judgment. And so we have adopted the R3 score, And we have made 2 more loans to returning citizens since then, one of which paid off early because they were doing so well. So far, all of our borrowers are just really doing amazingly well. We have so many success stories. It's really exciting. Wow. And I can't tell you how many folks that at that closing table are almost in tears because they can't believe someone finally believed in them. And yet they were huge successes. Someone should have been believing in them all along.
I tell you, Miss Bonnie, I just feel your passion, and it resonates that this is not just another lending institution or another company. You know, your agency, your company actually has an investment into the individual, not just from the monetary, but you actually want to see them thrive. That's what I'm getting from you. You know, Dr. Leroy, what would you like to tap into with this conversation?
Now, Ms. Bonnie, I want to ask you this. Now, you mentioned a little bit about the services, but do you offer personal and business loans, or is it just business loans that we sell?
Right, just small business loans. We don't do any personal lending. Small business loans, even the real estate side, is development and construction, not mortgages. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, we just do. It's all business related. I mean, one thing I will mention in the technical assistance or the training that we provide, we don't stop when we close the loan. We meet with folks regularly afterwards, at least 4 times in the first year and twice in the year after, and then every year. And we help them. We sit down, we have a conversation, see how they're doing. And if they've got an issue, hopefully we can head it off before it becomes a big problem. Mm-hmm. And as a result, folks see us as more or less a partner and not just a lender. If I call someone, if someone starts having trouble making payments, they typically call me. I don't even have to call them. They call me first. If I do call someone, they answer the phone. You know, they're not hiding from us. Mm-hmm. And when we've had maybe 3 loans over the course of 4 years who ran into some payment issues, and we worked with them, and we sat down and we went over their financials, and we talked about the, different options they had, and they caught up. Mm-hmm. And are now current and paying just like everybody else. And had that been a bank loan, they would never have had that opportunity to catch up. It would have just gone straight to the collections attorney.
Right. And I think that's the difference with your institution, is that you actually work with a small business owner. You have an educational platform, a training course that they go through. How long is that training course? It's result oriented. So how long it takes is how long the business owner takes to finish it. We basically want a comprehensive, well-written business plan. And that takes some work. But if you have a well-written, comprehensive business plan, you will have covered all the issues. You'll know what rules and regulations apply. You'll know what licenses you need. You'll understand what it takes to put together your operation and what it's going to cost. And then we help with the financials, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, cash flow projections. And again, we just sort of get them prepared to apply for the loan. So I've had people turn it around in 2 weeks. I have someone who started 4 years ago and is still working on it. Mm-hmm. And so it's individual, right? Definitely individual based. Okay.
The average person, 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. That sounds about right for developing the business plan. So the first step, again, if someone's interested that's watching now or going to be watching the replay, if they're interested with BCL, the first step is to get enrolled into the educational training, correct?
Right. They give us a call. We make sure they are eligible for a small business loan. Up until now, we've made loans in Baltimore City only. Okay. The business has to be located in Baltimore City, not the owner.
Okay.
However, our board of directors has just approved an expansion that we will look at loans in the counties contiguous to the city. Mm-hmm. So Howard, Harford, Baltimore, and Anne Arundel. And this is because there's a couple of neighborhoods in the city where the city-county line goes straight through the middle. I mean, if someone's in Dundalk, it takes us all 15 minutes to figure out whether they're in the city or the county, because Dundalk is in both. And usually half the time they're not even sure. So we are now making loans outside the city, but you can't have a bankruptcy that has not been resolved within the last 2 years. If it's older than 2 years, that's fine.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, what are those eligibility requirements?
Right. You can't have an outstanding debt to the IRS unless you have an agreement with the repayment agreement with the IRS, because the IRS can sweep in anytime and just take everything. But if you have a repayment agreement, then we're okay with that. And to be perfectly honest, the number one reason we were saying no is because people were outside of the city line, which is one of the main reasons that we decided to expand our boundaries, because we just want to help everybody. And if their business is close to the city line, chances are they're employing people from the city as well. So those are the primary considerations. We do look at credit score, but we don't have a cutoff number like a bank. With a bank, if your credit score is below 680, they tell you don't even bother, walking through the door. And we don't have a cutoff number like that. Basically, if anyone's below 600, we just want a good explanation. And there very often is. When you look at a credit report, you can tell if someone had a health issue, which is the number one reason for credit issues, is having health issues that, bills that ran up, or a job loss, or sometimes a divorce. Or you can see if they just, bought 2 Lincolns or took a vacation to the Bahamas instead of paying their bills. And you can see that when you look at the credit report. So we're just looking for the good reason, and we work with folks. And, if their credit score is so low that it is not, reasonable for them to get tied up in additional debt, we will refer them to other programs that provide finance counseling for individuals, for personal finances, to sort of help them get back on track before they come back to us.
Awesome. We want to give a shout out to individuals that are tuning into our show this morning. Give a shout out to Ronnie Francois. We want to give a shout out to Cornelius Adams and to author Angelina. And as well as to Rita Speaks and Miss Peggy from the Baltimore area. Everyone that's tuning in now, share this link. We have a phenomenal queen with us today, with talking about the benefits of BCL and how small business owners in the Baltimore community can tap into these resources so your business can thrive, your business can grow, and so that your business can expand. For those of you that's been watching since we started, I know you feel the passion of Miss Bonnie. I know I do. Dr. Leroy, what would you have to say about everything that you've been hearing so far?
No, I think that Baltimore Community Lending is absolutely phenomenal. Ever since I heard about them and was introduced to them through Terrence Dixon, owner of Terra Cafe,
right.
Had the event there. I was just like, wow, this is something that folks need to know about in the city. Because they say in the city, because a lot of people don't know especially at the time that they existed. And that they were there for people in the city to be able to come and be able to have access to, as Ronnie was saying, having access to capital, because that's a strong barrier when it came to business. Someone who was an aspiring entrepreneur or wanted to start a business, that was a true barrier. Saying I don't have the funds to be able to have to get the resources that I need to have a successful business. And they not only say, hey, we're going to assist you with starting, getting you the capital resources that you need. We're going to make sure, which is big, what you and I, Kathy, we talk about all the time. It's not just about opening those doors and starting the business. It's about keeping those doors open, because as all of us know, most businesses aren't successful within those first 5 years.
Right.
And having those tools in place, having the resources in place that you need in order to be able to be successful. So BCL is definitely there to be able to make sure that you keep those doors open so that you can be successful and you can have those success stories, as Mr. Ani was telling us about individuals that started those businesses, because that's what drives people, where they can physically see others who have done what it is that they're trying to do. And they say, wow, if they can do it, then I know, hey, then I can do that as well too. And I need to go see Baltimore Community Lending because I know that they're going to put me in a position to be successful. So I think
that's what it is. It's about putting business owners in position to be successful. And everything that Ms. Bonnie has been sharing is just that. There's an educational training program that focuses on the heartbeat of a business, which is the business plan. But I think it was also a teachable moment Ms. Bonnie shared at the very beginning when I asked, why is BCL still thriving? She said they shifted, they moving with the times. And I think that's a teachable moment for all of us as individual business owners. When we're growing our business, we have to pay attention to what's going on in not just our community, but global, with the economy globally. And then we also have to be flexible to shift when we need to shift. And I think that's something I got from you. I call it golden nuggets. So that's my golden nugget that I got this morning. Be ready as a business owner to pay attention to what's going on in the economy. And if you need to, be ready to shift. Talk a little bit more about shifting as an entrepreneur. Why is that so significant?
Well, and we certainly saw the need for that during COVID. The folks who were able to shift to online businesses, were able to hang in there and succeed. The restaurants that were able to shift to delivery and, outside seating, as the case may be, were able to succeed. You can't be so wedded to your business idea that you don't see other options, options for growth or options for, getting out of the rut that you're in. You've got to be able, to grow with the times. And it's not just changing times, but also, like, for example, when we learned about the returning citizens who could not get PPP loans, that's always been true. They've never been able to get an SBA loan. And it wasn't until we learned that we recognized that, here is another population out there that needs our help. So we extended our help to that population. So it's paying attention to the changing times and also just continuing to learn, whether things are changing or not, you still have more to learn. Everybody still has more to learn, and if you can hang in there and keep learning and growing, you have more chance of success. I don't know how much time we have, but I was going to tell you just a quick horror story about a business plan. Okay. Now this is what I call teachable moment. Fortunately, this was not one of our clients. But back in the day when I was doing the revitalization program, there was a restaurant in Federal Hill that was up for sale. Now this is Federal Hill, right? So high end, fancy. Two 20-somethings came along and got their parents to buy it for them. So their parents spent $250,000, bought this restaurant, but they wanted it to be more modern inside and fancy. So they spent another $250,000 rehabbing this building. So these two 20-somethings spent $500,000 before they even opened their door, which other small businesses could only dream about that kind of money, right? And when it came to the grand opening, they hired a band, they'd send out invitations, they had a big grand opening sign, and then they said, guess you better go downtown and get a liquor license. They hadn't even thought about it. They had not written a business plan. They had not checked what they needed to do. Federal Hill has restricted business license or liquor licenses, and there were none available. If you're going to get one, you need to buy it for about $250,000. So they took down the grand opening sign and they put up a for sale sign. And this is a business that started with $500,000 and went out of business before they opened their doors. That's why you need to write a business plan. Make all your mistakes on paper, answer all your questions on paper before you're spending real money. Yeah. And it's going to make a difference. So anyway, that's always the horror story that I tell. So when people say, why do I need a business plan? Oh, that's why.
It's your roadmap. Dr. Leroy? Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, I was just going to say, so the two 20-year-olds there, whoever was their funder, I think you said
their parents.
They didn't even ask when they were doing the process of the business. Nope. What the business looks like, what they might need. They weren't. Were the parents business owners as well, or they just
no, just wealthy executives
Yeah.
at large corporations.
Wow.
And, paid for their kids' dream without doing any of the work ahead of time.
$500 million
A lot
lesson.
of 20-somethings figure they can run a bar and restaurant because they eat and drink, right? So I think that's all they figured was necessary. We're very good at eating and drinking. We can do this.
Wow.
But I think it's something significant of that. Just because you see another business and they may be thriving and they may be flowing, you got to know what's behind the scene work,
right?
Behind the I call it the grind. To really get the business off the ground. What's the nitty gritty? What are the ingredients? Just like if you was making a cake, it's certain ingredients to get that final output that you're looking for. Hopefully, it's moist and tasty. But it's just like with the business. And as you stated, the business plan is that roadmap. And without that roadmap, you can kind of get into the deep. And unfortunately, in this scenario that you mentioned, and some of the people in the Facebook Live are commenting like, wow, $500,000 and now it's a for sale sign.
Yep.
So for those that's watching now, and for those that's going to be watching later, you don't want that to be you. You want to do the work. You connect with BCL. Dr. Leroy was the one that informed me about BCL. And I tell you, having this dynamic conversation today, I'm just going to share this information also with other business colleagues that's in the Baltimore area, because I think I connect to the mission, but also it's a purpose behind it. It's not just another institution. It's not just another lending agency. You know what I mean? You actually have the passion to work with individuals and to see those businesses thrive and to see those businesses grow. So if you're watching and you may be one of those that said, you know what, I'm giving up. I'm not even going to try to apply nowhere else. I've been turned down on my left. I've been turned down on the right side. If you're in the Baltimore community, reach out to BCL. What is the best starting point if someone, is hearing this show or may hear the replay? What would be their first? Do they call? Do they send an email? What is their first start?
Well, you can always check out our website, which is bclending.org, and that will send you in the right direction. Or you can call directly. Melissa Badaker is our sort of mission control. She's the place to start. And I actually, because we're doing sort of a hybrid work from home, work from the office thing still, I'm going to give you her mobile number. Actually, I should probably just put her work number out there in the world. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did not ask her first, so I'm going to give you her work number. And she's in and some days she's in it, some days she's out, and she can check her email or voicemail. The number is 410-319-0732. And it's Melissa Badaker, and she will get you started. She'll find out sort of where you are in the process, if you're eligible, and then she will move you into the training program. And then you take off from there. And like I said, most people 4 to 6, maybe 8 weeks. Some people get through it more quickly. Others just keep on working on it. So it's up to you. We'll meet you where you are. And we're just there to help you out. And in fact, we also help existing businesses who are successful. We have many existing businesses who are very successful. They're doing well, but they can't expand or grow or take advantage of an opportunity because they don't have collateral. And, so we'll help those folks too. So you don't just
this is
have
for
to
startup and for expanding.
Exactly. In fact, I'd say our portfolio is about half and half.
Okay. Nice. Now, with this training course, and one other question just popped in my mind. So is it like a group training? Is it one-on-one? How does that look?
One-on-one. David Freeman is currently our provider, and I think David is getting busier and busier. We're just talking about hiring a second person for that to work with David. But he, has a conversation with you, looks at whatever business plan or financials you have, and then takes it from there. We have outlines to help you get started, but it's all one-on-one. There is no, it's not a classroom situation. We work with the individuals.
So it's personalized. So once again,
absolutely,
leaders, business owners that's watching now, or you're going to watch later, or a business owner that can benefit, share this link, share this live. It's all about growing our businesses to the next level. It's all about, shifting our community. And a presenter that came on last week, he had made a statement and it stuck with me. He said, business owners and entrepreneurs are the economic heartbeat in a community. And so some of you may be saying, well, I want to be that, person or my business in my community to make it thrive, but I'm at a brick wall. If you feel that way financially, reach out to BCL, go through the process, find out if you're eligible, be a part of the educational training platform that's going to help transform your business. Because this is everything I'm hearing from you, Bonnie. I know we just met, but you just, I don't know, just very welcoming. And so I think everybody that's watching this now can definitely feel that. And I think this also represents what BCL is all about. Because sometimes, you may be like, well, is it going to be down to earth? Let's just put it out. I'm walking into this company. Are they going to be down to earth? Are they going to receive me where I am? But you said a few seconds ago, you will meet them where they are. Right. And so that is what this whole conversation is about. Wherever you are in your business, wherever you are in your leadership capacity, it's about going to the next level. Bonnie, we had said when we entered into the month of March, this is March Madness. And we know typically that's associated with sports. But what we were saying to the business owners, this is March Madness for your business. Go all out. Right. And just give it all you can. But with that, you need the tools. So again, this is another tool that we're sharing with our community of BCL. Dr. Leroy.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate that. But one of the things that Ms. Bonnie said that I thought was key about BCL is they listen, which is the L in leader. They listen and they learn. They learn from what it is that they were able, from the people that they brought through the program, and they also listen to what the need was in the community. And they understood, hey, these are, especially when you talked about the those that are re-entering into society, that was a need, and they listened to it. They listened to it and said, hey, these are people that can qualify, for financing, but they need the access to the resources. It was just a thing of saying, hey, we're able to give them access to the resources that they need. Let's do that. And you don't do that if you're not listening. And if you're not willing to shift. They could have just been like everybody else and said, no, we're not doing it. But they shifted and said, you know what, we're going to be that connection for them to be able to impact the community in that way. And that's it. The stories that she can tell, I know I could tell just from her telling that story. She had a big old smile on her face about that gentleman. It was just like, those are awesome stories to hear about, because so often we don't hear about stories like that. We don't hear about those that re-enter into society and being successful. Because I've read, or it was a Instagram post that I got, that there's a gentleman, and I spoke with you, Kathy. I sent you a message that he'd be a great guest to have on the show. But it's a gentleman that was formerly incarcerated, started his own barbershops. He now has the first barbershop in a Walmart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal story. I'm just like, I got to find out more about this to you, because these are the kinds of stories that we need to hear, that folks need to hear and see. And when you combine that with folks like Baltimore Community Lending that are out there that people can know about, it's like, man, our communities become stronger. We increase the job rate because more people are working in the city, which means people are paying more taxes, which means there's more that can be done in the community. It connects on all different aspects of the community, like I believe, and that I talk about all the time too. So I think this is absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, I'm so glad, Ms. Bonnie, that you had time to be able to come and talk to us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
This has been great.
Yeah. So just recap for anyone that might just be tuning in, what are the minimum and the max as far as the loans for startups, and then what is the minimum or max for those that's already existing? Just kind of go over some of the requirements for those that's just tuning in.
Okay, so we make small business loans to startups from $10,000 to $50,000, and for existing businesses that are more than 2 years old, we will go up to $150,000. The terms can be anywhere from 3 years for $10,000 up to 10 years for $150,000. Again, we work with you. We look at what you can afford on a monthly payment to help work it out. We do not require collateral, but we do require that you complete our small business training program, which is free and one-on-one, and we meet you where you are. Some folks don't need that much help. They already have a really well-written business plan, and they're ready to go. Other folks need a long time to work on it. Most people take about 6 to 8 weeks. We look for a reasonable credit score, or a good story. If it's a low credit score, it's got to be a good reason. And basically, we also provide the training follow-up after we close the loan. We stay your partner. We meet with you regularly. We help you get ahead of issues before they become big problems. And so far, we have not had a single write-off or default. So we believe in what we do. We believe in Baltimore businesses. We just think they needed to have the chance. They needed to be given an opportunity that most traditional lending does not provide.
Wow. Again, for those of you that are watching now, or someone may send you this link and you're going to watch the replay, reach out to BCL. And once again, what is that website?
Our website is bclending.org. And if you want to call, I keep looking at the number because I'm one of these people that transposes numbers when I'm saying them out loud.
Yes.
You want to call Melissa Badaker. She is our small business mission control, and her number is 410-319-0732. And she will have a conversation with you and point you in the right direction. And I can say I frequently get calls from Melissa saying how excited she is to talk to some of these folks, and will call me up to just tell me about the great business that called that day. And everyone in my department is there because we believe in this. And we're very excited about it. And I warned you right at the beginning that I'd love to talk about this. So,
yes. No, I mean, this is awesome. This has been great. Doctor, as we get ready to wind down this segment for today, Dr. Lieber, any final words you would like to share?
I'll say this, Ms. Bonnie, something you said has stuck out to me all morning. You said, when people keep getting told no, they stop asking. I'm gonna say that again for you. When people keep getting told no, they stop asking. And today, I want you to get the mindset of not stop asking. Keep asking.
Right.
Keep asking. Keep asking those questions. Keep asking the questions, because the mind will work towards what it focuses on. So if you want that business, if you want to be in the position to be able to have the yes, you got to keep asking the questions. So keep asking those questions. And Catherine, I told you yesterday, cycles has been in my mind all week. We can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. So get out of those cycles. Get out of those cycles that we're in. Put yourself in a position to be able to have that yes. And Baltimore Community Lending will put you in the position to say yes to having a loan, to having that business, to impacting the community, and in everything you do. So put yourself in a position to say yes and get out of those cycles.
And another thing, another golden nugget I got was access. BCL gives a business owner that's trying to grow and expand access. And I think that's where we all are. We want to grow, but sometimes that doorway of opportunity isn't there. But now you know. If you didn't know before, now we know about BCL. Any final words, Ms. Bonnie, before I close this out?
Well, I just do want to say that, when we started this program, when they asked me on board, I said, look, is this going to be just another lending program? Are we going to do the same thing everybody else is doing, or are we going to make a difference? And they said, it's all, it's up to you, but we're here to make a difference. So we have worked on that from day one. And it really does matter to us that we change the conversation, that ultimately, we're not a unique program, but that other lenders see the value in what we do and change the way they do business too, so that there's access everywhere and not just from BCL. You know, that's the result we'd like to see in the long term. And we'd like to see our borrowers graduate too. You know, we hope that one day our borrowers don't need us anymore and can go get a big $1 million loan from a bank. You know, just remember us when.
Yes. And so the golden nugget is the ripple effect, passing it on. You said you also want other institutions to see what you were doing, and they also will be able to adopt that same philosophy, that same mindset to assist other business owners. But also, you don't want to keep anyone in a pigeonhole. You say, listen, you needed to start with us, but it's going to get to a point that you're going to surpass, and it's totally okay because you want the businesses to thrive and grow. Listen, today has been an absolutely inspiring. That's the best word I can say. It's been very inspiring because when you meet someone, definitely for the first time, but you feel their energy and you're authentic, very authentic with everything that you've said. So again, I know myself, Dr. Leroy, we're going to be telling other business owners about BCL. If you're hearing about BCL for the first time, once again, go to the website, make the phone call, set up the appointment. Don't be that one that says, I've been told no so many times, I'm not even going to try again. Today is your day to get back up again. Today is your day to try again. And I think that's how we're going to end on this note. Today is your day to try again. And as you always know, we're back here every Tuesday. We're going to be back next week with another phenomenal guest. And like, I always say at the end, we're going to see you at the top. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bonnie.